Welcome back to another episode of Sergeant Major's Corner. I'm your host, Staff Sergeant Gaddy. With me again, we have Sergeant Major Budd. How you doing, Sergeant Major?
Good afternoon, Sergeant Gaddy.
So, episode 3 of Sergeant Major's Corner, we talked about counselors. Today, we'll also be doing another episode on counselors. Sergeant Major, what would you like to talk about today about counselors?
Well, in the previous episode, we talked about the 3 types of counseling, and today I'd like to talk about the 4 stages of counseling.
So, Sergeant Major, could you tell me what are the 4 stages of counseling?
The 4 stages of counseling are identifying the need, the second stage is preparing for the counseling, the third is actually conducting the counseling, and to me the 4th, and probably the most important, is following up.
Okay. So out of those 4, would you like to talk about all 4 of them today, or is there one you would just like to point out and talk about?
Well, I think today we're going to focus on preparing for the counseling.
So when you say prepare, like, who prepares for it? Does the leader prepare? Does the subordinate prepare? Like, what is your definition of preparing for the counseling? And
so when you prepare for the counseling, to your question, I think both individuals need to prepare for that counseling. And in this situation, what I'm thinking about is your monthly counseling that you have with junior enlisted soldiers, or your quarterly counseling you have with your non-commissioned officers. And preparing for the counseling, as a counselor, you want to identify the time that you're going to counsel with an individual ahead of time, because that allows them to prepare, like you said as well. You schedule that time, and you want to find a good location to do that counseling.
So I see you said monthly counseling, Sergeant Major. Like, what if somebody misses that monthly counseling? Like, what's the best way to prepare for that situation?
Well, I think it's natural and it happens. The goal is every soldier is counseled every single month. And there's a reason that soldiers are counseled monthly and non-commissioned officers are counseled quarterly. By the time you become a non-commissioned officer, you should have been developed over a course of probably 3, maybe 4 or 5 years, and now you're ready to be a sergeant. There's many monthly counselings under your belt. But it's not the end of the world if you miss monthly counseling. What I'd say is, again, if you set up your monthly counseling with your junior soldiers as a squad leader and team leader on battle rhythm type events, and what I mean by battle rhythm, a lot of soldiers in organizations have payday activities your first Friday. When payday activities is over, you might have a set block of time to counsel your soldiers. Maybe right after sergeant's time training, you have soldiers in your squad sit down and you counsel them.
Is it important for the soldier to prepare for this counseling too as well, more than the leader, or should it all be the same?
So I don't know if it's more important, but it is important. I'd say really, especially for non-commissioned officers, there's set goals that as a leader that you have for your non-commissioned officers, that you're sitting down and you're actually sitting with the NCOER support forum and identifying goals and things that you want them to focus on, and they're also doing that with you. And it could be, ACFT or PT scores that they want to improve, marksmanship training, and those are personal goals that they'll have and they'll share with you. So it's important that both individuals prepare.
So, Sergeant Major, you said about location. Like, what do you mean about location? Is there a certain type of location that you prefer somebody to get counseled at?
I don't think there's one great location that you can be at. And what I'd tell you is, it's for those type of counseling, your monthly and quarterly counseling, it's good to bring that individual into your office. And I understand not all soldiers have offices. I'm a sergeant major now, so I try to get out of my office as much as possible. But as a leader, you're going to counsel where you can. That might be a motor pool, a conference room, but I'd say somewhere relatively quiet where you and your leader, or the leader and the soldier, can discuss their goals as soldiers. So
you said there were 4 stages to a counseling, but why is prepare so important? Like, why did you want to talk about preparing today?
Yeah, and I think even, initially on in the episode, I think following up is maybe the most important stage. But preparation, if we don't prepare for the counseling, if it's haphazard, it's done at the last second, or we just do it to do it, and the check the block because the first sergeant's going to check our counseling packets, it's not effective. It's a waste of the soldier's time. It's a waste of the leader's time. And so if we prepare for the counseling, we take everybody's time into consideration. And then I'd say too, you don't want to wait 2 to 3 years before you start counseling a soldier, because it sets them so far behind their peers. And so counseling is so important, and preparing is critical.
Sergeant Major, we had a great topic today about preparing for this counseling. Is there anything else that you would like to put out to the formation or any soldier out there due to preparation for counseling?
I do, and I think counseling is very important. It's one of the things that that if you do well, you develop your individuals in your team. Because counseling is critical to the Army, we're going to develop this out in Command Sergeant Major's Corner and probably have a counseling series where we can further go into the different stages of counseling and how to become a better counselor.
But there you have it. With this episode of counseling, make sure you subscribe, like, comment below if you have a question. Again, I'm Staff Sergeant Gaddy, this is Sergeant Major Budd, and this is Sergeant Major's Corner.